Watch Today in LA from 5 to 7 a.m. on NBC4.
Live from NBC4, this is the Channel 4 News at 6.
And here at 6 o'clock, we'll start out with the weather and a cold weather warning. Tonight is going to be the coldest night of the year so far.
Plus, words of caution after a family used a heating device in their home that could have killed them. Pablo Pereira is standing by with the forecast. But first, we begin with Channel 4's Ted Chen live in Long Beach. Ted?
Anna, these two victims of carbon monoxide poisoning went back to the hospital this afternoon for a checkup. It is expected that they will recover, but experts say this is a reminder to all of us for home heating when it gets cold.
It's not her fault because she's a sweet lady and she just thought...
Her son says the 64-year-old woman simply didn't know any better. It was a cold night, and she brought the backyard barbecue inside the house to get warm.
We have central heating and we have a bunch of electrical heaters, but they would dry out. She was home alone. They would dry out her nose or they would give her nosebleeds, so she wasn't used to it.
With the charcoal barbecue inside, it wasn't long before she passed out. She and her daughter were brought to Long Beach Memorial Hospital, where the daughter also showed symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning.
This can save your life.
Captain Mike DeRee of the Long Beach Fire Department suggests all homeowners get carbon monoxide detectors.
If you have a carbon monoxide detector, this will give you early warning that there is carbon monoxide buildup in the house, give you and your family ample time to get out.
Every year, some 500 people nationwide die from carbon monoxide poisoning, often in low-income areas. But Denise King of the Southern California Gas Company says there are options for people worried about the cost of heating their homes.
If it's a homeowner occupying the home, they may also qualify for a new furnace. And so we want to make sure our customers are aware of these programs.
Captain DeRee says regular inspection and maintenance of home heating systems is critical, as is knowing what can and can't be used.
We were lucky that my sister was home at the time and that I came out at the time. So, I mean, if there was no one else, then it would have been pretty disastrous.
Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning include nausea and dizziness and flu-like symptoms. The gas company does offer free inspections of gas appliances in your home. For more on how cold it's going to get tonight and for the rest of the week, let's go now to my colleague Pablo Pereira. Pablo.
Ted, thanks. In fact, it was the coldest temperature ever recorded in the city of Long Beach overnight last night, getting down to 36 degrees, breaking the previous record of 38 set back in 1975. Live Weather Plus Doppler radar showing temperatures already beginning to cool off tonight. Freeze warnings in effect for the Inland Empire tonight. Frost advisories for much of the coastal areas. Let's check some of the other record lows besides Long Beach overnight. 18 degrees in Palmdale, 16 in Lancaster, and 31 degrees breaks a record in Camarillo of 32 degrees. Yes, tonight will be the coldest night of the week. Just how long this cold snap will last, we'll have the answer for you when we come back in a few minutes. We'll see you then.
Right, we'll see you then, Pablo. And tonight, a local hospital is working to solve a bacterial crisis in its neonatal unit. And today, the family of an infant who died there speaks out for the first time. Channel 4's Conan Nolan is live for us in Boyle Heights. Conan?
Chuck, just a day after the announced death of this infant, the parents have filed a lawsuit. They argue that they're simply trying to get answers to exactly what happened to their newborn son. On the murals outside White Memorial Medical Center, testament to the generations it has served. Monica Rodriguez's newborn is now just a month old.
Yo digo que sí. Es bueno.
This is a good hospital, she says. But just a few miles away, outside LA County Court, one family expresses heartache over what they say was a betrayal. David and Lucina Marin's baby was born at White Memorial 1 month ago. It wasn't long after that the child's condition started to deteriorate.
Every day we come to the hospital, we see something different, something worse.
The Marin's infant son died yesterday morning, becoming the second baby to succumb to a bacterial outbreak which has closed the neonatal care unit at White Memorial. Both cases connected to a bacterial infection the hospital believes was transmitted through a medical tool used during intubation that was not properly sterilized. The Marin family has filed a lawsuit.
A properly sterilized laryngoscope should not be carrying on an infection from child to child to child.
The Pseudomonas aeruginosa bacteria is commonly found in water, sometimes in the air. Most who get exposed do not get sick, but to those with depressed immune systems, it can be deadly. Such was the case with the Marin's baby, born 4.5 months premature. Dr. Lorraine Mascola, head of LA County's Acute Communicable Disease Program, says sometimes it is the very procedures used to save the patient that result in the infection.
It's sort of that balance of you have to
do some type of instrumentation for these sick people, and sometimes Pseudomonas, which is common in the hospital environment, common in water supplies, occasionally cross-contaminates some equipment and gets people sick with this bacteria.
This is our first baby. I don't know how many parents, fathers, they are in the same situation like we are right now. But I hope they don't pass through for these moments.
Now, White Memorial is investigating, of course. They say 8 other infants in the neonatal center tested positive for this bacteria, but they did not result in an infection. The hospital also says that it has been serving the Boyle Heights community for the past 95 years, and it is intent on getting to the root of this problem and making sure that the safety of the patients here remains its priority. Conan Nolan reporting live from Boyle Heights, Channel 4 News.
Breaking news right now in Sherman Oaks. It's a power outage. Desiree Horton and News Chopper 4 with more. Desiree.
Well, this is the intersection of Woodman and Oxnard here in Sherman Oaks, and about 900 customers, DWP customers, are without power. We are being told by DWP that a tree fell on some power lines, knocking out the power in this area and at various intersections, also affecting the orange line. We're watching the bus go through intersections without signals. There are no lights working at some of those intersections in this area that span about a mile. Not live from News Chopper 4, I'm Desiree Horton. Back to you in the studio.
In the war in Iraq, President Bush is now considering sending a, quote, surge of additional troops, and the Pentagon is blaming Iraqi insurgents, not the terrorists, for most of the violence in that country. Pentagon says the attacks in Iraq are at their highest level ever, 5 times as many attacks in Baghdad this month as there were in December of last year. And the president's considering sending another 30,000 troops into the war zone. Reports say that the Joint Chiefs of Staff are advising against that move. Also, the U.S. is planning to send yet another aircraft carrier into the Persian Gulf region to discourage Iran from shipping munitions to Shiites in Iraq.
Honors tonight for a local soldier home from Iraq. The city of Monterey Park presented an award today to Army Specialist Izzy Flores for his heroic actions that saved the lives of 11 people last June. Details now from Channel 4's Carrie Berglund.
When you take a look at Izzy Flores, you see a fresh-faced kid just out of his teens. But when you hear about this young man's actions on the battlefield in Iraq, a very different image starts to take shape. This now 21-year-old kid from Monterey Park is no kid at all. He is, in fact, a hero of the Iraq War. As of Memorial Day weekend, 11 people owe their lives to U.S. Army Specialist Combat Medic 1st Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, 4th Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division, Izzy Flores, Jr.
This is the key to our city.
Today, Specialist Flores was honored at City Hall in Monterey Park for keeping a cool head when a vehicle exploded on the streets of Baghdad. Dodging shrapnel and bullets, he treated the injured and waited with them until they were safely out of harm's way. And then, Combat Medic Flores pulled security detail until his team had left safely.
Job entails just us taking care of each other over there, making sure we all come back home to our families and our loved ones. So it's something we all try to do for each other, and we all take care of each other.
We hear the same thing from every true hero, just doing their job, what they were trained to do. But history has also taught us that extraordinary events can only bring out the extraordinary in people if it is there to begin with. Izzy Flores went to Baghdad with what it takes to be a hero.
There's not a day that goes by I can't think about it. It's not that I have, bad flashbacks or anything like that, but I mean, it stays with you, something like that.
And his family and friends here in Monterey Park are not only proud of him, but grateful that he also had the ability and the luck to make it back home again.
As a mom, you're always the one. You go pick them up, you go make sure they're okay, you give them a hug, you talk to them, and you just want to know they're okay.
But this is a brief visit home. Flores has re-upped for another 3 years and will be Sergeant Flores before too long.
Well, I can't believe he has done all this.
Even for you?
Yes.
Still, for the man at the center of all this attention today,
I'm waiting for someone to say, yeah, April Fools or something.
No chance of that, Specialist Flores. No chance at all. In Monterey Park, Carrie Berglund, Channel 4 News.
The Stater Brothers grocery store chain today donated another $40,000 to the special fund that's been set up for the families of the firefighters who died in the Esperanza fire.
So when this tragedy hit, we all wanted to jump in and help as
Jackie Brown, who's the chairman of Stater Brothers, is a former firefighter himself. At least 2 of the firefighters who died in Riverside County in October had connections to Stater Brothers. Today's check comes from donations from employees and customers, and it brings the Esperanza Firefighter Assistant Fund now to $1.2 million.
His book and his TV deal were canceled.
Yes, they were. But O.J. Simpson may still have to pay for the If I Did It book. We'll have more on that coming up, and also this.
I'm Vicki Vargas in Santa Ana. There's a lot of private information within the public documents here. What's to keep it from getting into the wrong hands? A live report.
Two grieving families joined police today to ask for the public's help in solving the murders of their sons. One case involves the murder of young Christopher Fregoso. He was killed while sitting outside the home of his friend Jose Velez in Cypress Park on October 14th. The LA City Council has authorized a $75,000 reward for information that helps solve this case. The other case involves the murder of 17-year-old Zelvin Reyes. He was at a party with other Lincoln High School graduates last July when a fight broke out. He intervened to stop a beating and was shot in the back. A $50,000 reward is being offered in that case.
O.J. Simpson, once again tonight, is being sued by the family of Ron Goldman. The Goldman's attorney says that Simpson fraudulently profited from the book If I Did It, rather than paying the civil judgment that he still owes the Goldman family. They have been quite tenacious. The federal lawsuit claims today that O.J. Simpson created just a dummy corporation and used his children's middle names and received a $1.1 million advance for the ill-fated book and the television interview, which, as you know, were later canceled. But the suit says the payment was already a done deal. Fred Goldman is seeking that same amount plus personal damages, but his lawyer believes that O.J. Simpson has probably already spent the money.
Well, we broke some records last night, and it is going to be cold enough to break them again tonight.
Wow. Some places will get into the 20s. We'll have a forecast coming up.
Coming up tonight, a warning about some popular pain relievers and a part of the White House people seldom see. Those stories and more straight ahead on NBC Nightly News.